This is Shane Dunkley and Emma Burmester, and our IDL is financial management. So a little bit about our client and introduction to the case. Our client is a 13-year-old white female with Down syndrome. Symptoms of Down syndrome commonly include intellectual disabilities, including mild to moderate cognitive impairments, delayed language, and short and long-term memory deficits. Individuals with Down syndrome also commonly have a variety of distinct facial features and may experience fine motor challenges. Intellectual and developmental problems may be mild, moderate, or severe. Our client is currently attending 7th grade at a local middle school and has various goals, including their current IEP. Their main goals include increasing awareness of classroom expectations, social conventions related to bathroom use, increasing social participation, enhancing communication skills, improving dressing skills, namely with jewelry and buttons. The client has also demonstrated behaviors in physical education secondary to difficulties with doffing and donning jewelry.
Okay, so looking at the occupation that we have financial management, and this is described in the OTPF as using fiscal resources, including financial transaction methods and planning and using finances with long-term and short-term goals. And so then the approach that we are using is the occupational performance coaching intervention strategy. And we will go into more about this and provide specific details in a little bit. But then the frame of reference that we chose to use is the cognitive behavioral frame of reference. This frame of reference addresses 5 interrelated aspects, including thoughts, behaviors, emotion and mood, physiological responses, and the environment. We chose this frame of reference just because it addresses many different aspects that can all have an impact on occupational performance. This frame of reference also emphasizes a client-centered approach along with collaboration with the client. And this aligns really well with the occupational performance coaching intervention strategy.
So a little bit about our approach. OPC, occupational performance coaching, was what we decided to use for financial management. This approach involves supporting client and caregiver participation and performance in occupations within both the home as well as the community environment. Our client loves to shop with her mother, which provides an opportunity for the parent and child to develop the skill sets in settings outside of school and therapy. This is a strengths-based approach to problem solving that is supported by the client's current capacity to complete math problems, which has been demonstrated in the initial eval. This approach is most often utilized as an intervention for younger children and their caregivers, but can also be implemented with older children as well. And a little bit more about the structure for implementing OPC. It's very similar to the co-op approach, with aspects including making goals, planning, doing, and reflecting applied with the additional focus of generalizing skills and collaboration with the caregiver. It involves 3 domains, including structured process, emotional support, and informational exchange. With that first domain, the structured process, looking a lot like the co-op approach, the emotional support being important, both in therapy from the therapist, but also at home and other environments with the caregiver and the client in that interaction as well. And the information exchange, just keeping communication open between all parties so that there's a good flow of knowledge and understanding. The process of effective caregiver coaching promotes occupational performance for both the client as well as the caregiver and allows for generalization of skills developed in therapy to settings outside of therapy, with the caregiver being active in this process of generalization. For our demonstration, we will be implementing OPC with Shane Dunkley as the therapist, Emma as the client, Sarah as the client, and Emma as the caregiver. Our intervention is the Next Dollar Up worksheet and a money counting activity as well. We will be using OPC to include the caregiver in the process of making goals, exploring options, action planning, implementing the intervention briefly, with the caregiver present and checking performance, and finally generalizing.
Okay, so here is our video.
So hello, how's it going today?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm just kind of working with your daughter, Abby. I'm going to be working with her for 5 weeks, and so we're going to be working on some different things. Some things I noticed in your IEP were financial management, so that's a big thing that I want to focus on. And so I want to have this be a collaborative kind of process where we can make goals together, the three of us, and make sure it's something that we all kind of work on. Does that sound good, or are there any questions about that?
No, yeah, that sounds great.
For sure.
Mhm.
Okay. So some goals that I wanted to make for financial management. So today I noticed we kind of went through her lunchtime routine. She made some purchases in the lunchroom and made some purchases from the vending machine. And we also did some jewelry stuff. But for financial management, the lunch purchases, do you have any idea of anything you'd like by discharge to see as a goal?
Yeah, I think it would be really great if she would be able to be independent in making those lunch purchases. I know she gets some help from peers right now, and it can be frustrating. So just gaining that independence.
Yeah, I noticed that too, that her routine kind of consists of that, getting a lot of help from those peers, but I think we could get to that independent point. Do you think so as well, Abby?
Yeah,
Perfect. Okay, well, we'll strive for that and kind of work towards that. I think for vending machine, I think by next week we could have something, just maybe a little bit of assistance from me. She did great with that today.
Awesome.
I think just working with coins and continuing to develop some of those fine motor skills and that process is gonna work really well.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and then I was thinking for taking off and putting on jewelry, just a little bit of assistance from me, some queuing, if you think that would work too.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
And how do those sound with you, Abby?
they sound good.
All good, okay. So I'm gonna have you complete this worksheet next. So it's called the next dollar up. And so what you're gonna be doing is rounding up to the next dollar. It's kind of some math skills. I noticed you were doing well with those in class, and this is just gonna be deciding how much money you're gonna need to buy all these items. So you can go through this really quickly.
Okay.
I'll talk about that. All right, so I'll just take a quick look at this. Yep, it all looks pretty good. I think we had one error where we rounded down, but that's okay. We'll work on that. Do some more work with this because we'll need to know this if we're gonna make purchases on our own in the lunchroom. So, but that was great. Thank you for attempting that with me. What was difficult about that for you? Anything in particular, or?
Well, it was kind of hard to do the math really quick. It took me, like, some of them are hard because they're not that close to either side.
Sure, and we'll have more time and I'll be giving you assistance as we go through therapy, so definitely. So some of the interventions we're gonna be doing just include like things like this, like little worksheets. Also, we're gonna be going through lunch routines with Abby, just providing assistance and letting her become more independent as she goes with those. And then also dressing, doing the same thing, just giving her less and less assistance and letting her show us what she is able to do. So for those things, those are going to be kind of our interventions. Does that sound good to you guys?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I think a lot of what she might have a hard time with is kind of figuring out how much money she needs and knowing if she has enough or
Sure.
too much. So yeah, that was awesome.
Okay. I also wanted to talk about emotional support. I think that we're having some behaviors, which is totally fine. We all experience a lot of different emotions, so totally fine there. There's been some frustration with dressing, and there might be frustration as we continue to work with financial management. So I think we both can be really helpful in just being listening, being empathetic, and encouraging Abby throughout. So we're here for you, Abby, and just want to let you know that. But I was going to ask you as well, do you have any ways that you could practice this at home, financial management wise?
Yeah, we actually, every Tuesday, we go to the mall together after school. And so we could definitely work on Abby being a little bit more independent, making purchases there. So that's something we could practice. We also have a piggy bank at home that we don't really use, but we could maybe try to do something with that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Those are some great ideas. Definitely just getting to the shopping and letting her contribute a little bit more, being more independent is great. That piggy bank, that's a great one because you're going to work on fine motor skills as well, which is huge. And you can save up for things like jewelry. That would sound good, Abby, right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Absolutely. I was thinking for fine motor things, I just had a few things such as Play-Doh, Legos. coloring, just some things that you can do at home, but I'll send those to you as well.
Okay.
So you have those things that you can work on at home, and just we'll continue working on that. So I'll be here to continue collaborating with you. Do you have any questions for me right off the bat, or?
No, I think that all sounds great. I know sometimes you can get frustrated with the money and the lunch line. So I think all of this sounds really good and like really good goals.
For sure. Yeah, we can continue to discuss progress and goals. As you would like throughout, you can come in, definitely, and let me know what you're seeing. And Abby, you can let me know too. We'll be kind of reflecting as we go. So that'll be a big piece of it. And then we'll be talking about, yeah, things that are happening out in the community and not in school, because that'll be very important as well. So yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys, and
Awesome.
we'll continue to work on these goals. So
Great, thanks.
So hello, how's
Okay, so now looking at the evidence for the occupational performance coaching, one study looked at the effectiveness of OPC on improving children's and mothers' occupational performance. This study evaluated changes in occupational performance for both children and mothers at 4 different times. This was during the pre-wait list, which was 6 to 8 weeks before intervention, the pre-intervention, which was 1 week before intervention, and post-intervention, which was 1 week after intervention, and then the follow-up, which was 6 weeks after the completion of the intervention. And so this study had found that after OPC coaching sessions, children's occupational performance had improved significantly, and the mother's satisfaction with occupational performance had also improved. And then in addition, they also found that these improvements were maintained and lasted until that 6-week follow-up. And then they had also found that after using OPC, the mother's self-competence in regard to parenting was also improved. And then looking at our clinical reasoning questions, we have: what other approaches or interventions could be utilized to effectively address financial management? How do you avoid cognitive overload and accompanying behaviors for a client with Down syndrome? And when should the caregiver be included in the intervention planning for implementing OPC in multiple settings? And then here are our references. Thank you.